Design thinking is a tool for business problem solving and innovation, made popular by Tim Brown of the design company IDEO. Design thinking approaches business problems and needs for creativity in the same manner that designers tackle the design-related task, which is human-centric and experimental. Notable enterprises that have successfully adopted design thinking as a business tool lying at the core of their strategies are Apple, Pepsi, P&G, and SAP, just to name a few. The 5 stages of design thinking are as follows. Empathize. Gaining empathetic insight about the problems that your customers are facing by researching the market and consulting with experts. Define. Identifying the root of these problems based on the insightful data you have gathered in the first stage. Ideate. Devising creative, even unconventional approaches to solve the identified problems using various ideation techniques. Prototype. Producing a limited numbers of demo products or tweaking specific features of products and then testing these prototypes on a small group of people to evaluate the effectiveness of the solutions generated in the previous stages. Test. Repeatedly test the products that pass the prototype stage to even further understand the problems and user's experience. This is the stage where the products are still being altered and refined before entering the market. Design thinking is a process, yet a non-linear one at that. Each stage can still be revisited time after time until the final products meet the requirements of business leaders. Mr. Henrik, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Well, we're going to talk about design thinking.
Right.
It's been around for a long time. It's not something new. But for some reason, over the last 5 to 10 years, it's becoming a buzzword for business leaders and companies who want to do innovation and solving problems.
Absolutely.
So by definition, the short definition, design thinking is a process of solving problems based on human needs,
right,
focusing on the people, on the audience. But then the execution is complicated. From your point of view as a designer for over 30 years, could you give me your definition of design thinking?
Design thinking is a process. And I think that design thinking is crucial to make a match in between the management understanding of the process and the designer way of thinking of design process. By having this common knowledge and language in the design thinking process, it's much more easy to communicate together.
So is that the problem because when you have your design language and then you talk to the company's top management in business language,
right,
and it's hard to really understand each other?
Exactly.
That's the biggest problem of this
I think, yes, I think so. And I think that the design thinking process is helping us to have a common understanding of our languages on both sides of the table.
So, in short, how can design thinking help creating innovative solution for problems?
I think that the best thing about design thinking is that it forces you to test your designs on the market as a prototype. Making prototypes that look like the real products in the end, that can help the decision in taking that direction or another direction. And it's cheap to adjust at that time. But if you don't test it to the market and you have set up the whole manufacturing doing this product, you will enter to the market without testing, and if the people don't recognize it, if they don't want to buy it, it's a huge investment that you will lose.
But what if I have a business problem that have nothing to do with design? Then can design thinking help me solving that problem?
I think so, yes, because it's a process. You can use it as a business process, and of course you can bring designers into this process, but you don't need to bring designers in. It's a generic working process if you want to tweak your company into a new direction, because it's forcing you posing the right kind of questions to your company, to your marketing people, to your manufacturing, and then designers from inside your company or from outside, they can of course cross-pollinate all these informations towards new innovative solutions. And I think that is the trick. You don't have to spend money on external designers, but it will be a clever move to do it, because the designers, they have a very creative mind. That is why we are educated in that way that we are educated. We are specialists in combining aesthetics, functionality, and design for manufacturing. And I think it's important for the companies to understand that we have quite a lot of knowledge that is more than only making a nice drawing. We have a lot of knowledge about manufacturing processes. We have a lot of information and knowledge about how to test products, to ask people, together with our sociologists and the designers. They can go hand in hand doing the interview of the clients. And I think helping each other in our specific areas of expertise.
What if I have a service business, let's say a spa, right? And my problem is the customer don't return. It's not coming back.
No.
I have a spa and it's empty. There's nobody coming back.
No, that's over.
That's my problem.
Right.
And it's a service.
Right.
So how can designer help me with design thinking, mindset and process?
First of all, I need to understand the client that has been there before. I need to interview this client, trying to figure out why don't you want to go back.
That's the design thinking process, right?
It is, absolutely. It's the research phase.
Yeah.
You need to understand what is going wrong by yourself. Sometimes it's difficult for the client to ask these questions himself. It's easier to let some independent designer go out making all these questionnaires. Then you can have a pure answer from all these clients. By analyzing these answers, then you can give a full review of what is wrong, how can we improve, is it the logo, is it the entrance, is it the advertising, is it the service? You can say this is all about service design. It's all about how do you welcome your guest, how do you treat your guest, but it's also about how do you measure during the service whether it was good, medium or bad. If you don't have that kind of feeling, it's very, very difficult for any kind of CEO to take a move towards other areas. So it's all about understanding the business. As a designer, we could suggest many things. It could be a new inviting logo where you can feel happiness instead of sadness. It could be instruction of the front desk. How do you welcome your guest? That is very simple, but many companies, they tend to forget these kind of simple questions and simple observations. And then you can test very easy whether your new suggestions will help. And then you can ask your clients, how do you feel now? Is it better or is it worse? Then you can tweak it. And then you are able to improve and improve and improve. And suddenly you are able to fulfill your dream about getting your clients back. It's understanding the market. How does your competitor, how does they do? How are they operating in this enormous market? And how can you tweak it into your personal style so it becomes something unique?
Okay. You can do all of that with the help of a designer. Talk to them
yes,
more, right?
Yes, but not every designer are able to do that, of course. and I need to team up with some specialist. But as a designer, I am used to think in a holistic approach, which means it's the full business model that I'm looking into. So I'm the one who can ask all the stupid questions. It's allowed for me because I don't know anything about spas. I don't know anything about these kind of service seen from a professional way. But having a methodology and a process in asking in the right way, I can very quickly become an expert in that area. And then starting out with a stupid question, I can be pretty quick in asking the good question in the end, because I'm getting the right answers back.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is that before, I mean, companies' top management, when they try to solve that problem, then they never talk with the designer much.
No.
I mean, that's just the job of a CEO, because the spa is not going well, nobody's coming back. But now you're saying that we can actually consult with the designer, because this designer mindset is design thinking, and that could help solve the problems.
Yes.
It's interesting.
I think that we're used to look at the bigger picture. We are not business people, of course, but we understand the business, and we understand that you would like to have a good business. And we have a certain methods to solve these kind of problems, no matter if it is service design or product design, graphic design. It is but it's not easy. The company, they are the overall specialist on the products that they are manufacturing.
So it looks like the internal design, internal designer, they would understand the business better. So I mean, what is the pros and cons of using internal designer versus the external designer?
The pros is that the internal designers, they are able to know the business far better than the external designer. That is number one, to have internal designers, because they can help marketing, they can help the management. The risk of only having internal designers is that after a year or two, they are not so good in coming up with new innovative solutions, because they are thinking as the CEO and they are thinking as the marketing people. As external designers, we are generalists, but we are looking at so many different kind of companies around the world, which can be a very innovative step towards a company and their internal design team. So we are able to refresh the team with fresh new ideas, with fresh new processes, and it takes both parties to go into this kind of teamwork. And the design thinking process is very, very much about teamwork.
There's so many arguments about design thinking, and a lot of people questioning the actual result of this, the effective result of design thinking. Is it really easy to execute, or what seem to be the biggest challenges of the execution of this concept?
It will always be to take the right decision. And the more secure you want to be, the more you have to test on the market by your prototyping. But in the end, there are no one else to take the decision than the management.
What makes management fail at applying design thinking?
If they don't listen to the market, if they don't take the advice in the right order, then they tend to fail more than others who are taking the advices from the market understanding and the market situation. And I mean, if you've built a company and it has been growing for the last 10 years, and you suddenly are getting a huge lot of competition from abroad, as you have faced here in Vietnam, I think you really have to focus on what are all these foreign companies, what are they doing? Why do you want to buy these foreign stuff? Because it's appealing? Is it better quality than the Vietnamese stuff? I doubt, but they have their way of selling, because they have been selling for 50 years, 100 years. So they know the game of marketing, they know the game of design. And I think the Vietnamese people, they tend now to learn from that.
Yeah.
And you are very, very good in adapting these kind of processes. But still, there are a long way to go. And the more that you are training yourself in these processes, the better for your companies here. The stronger you will be on the very competitive international market. And I can see a lot of our clients here, they are becoming pretty strong in adapting these kind of processes.
I know your company Attention's doing a lot of design job in Vietnam for the Vietnamese clients, for the companies in Vietnam as well. Right. I'm just curious, how is the design thinking mindset of the clients over here? Do they really understand the concept?
Some does, but I think, I mean, you have so many smart CEOs here, and but again, it's all about doing the communication. If they don't want to, if they don't have the time to communicate about this process, of course it's a tough job to convince them that design thinking is the next level of design methodology. Then it can be tough. But I think that this kind of interview can bring hopefully new knowledge to this kind of topic. And I really hope that your management teams around in all these companies, they are getting a better understanding what it is about. It's not magic, it's hard work, but it's a process and it's a language where we are able to communicate together. Because in the end, it's all about taking as less risk as possible with your investment. And this process can help you in taking the right kind of decisions.
I see that you brought in a product in Vietnam that you provide the design job for this market. Could you kind of give some example of how you apply design thinking into this product, especially for the Vietnamese audience, Vietnamese user, consumers?
Right. You can say this project is based on an international client, but still you will never find these kind of graphic in the US or in Denmark or in Sweden. But this one will communicate in a very nice way to the Vietnamese audience. And you can say this one has been a huge success based on design thinking philosophy about testing on the market. So this way of working has brought us to other concepts like this, where we have adjusted the color scheme and the taste. If you are just doing in the normal way of making a nice sketch, here you go to the manufacturing, try it out. It's a huge risk. I mean, what if they don't like it?
So it's all
why not test it? Because it's so easy to test. Just test it 1 time, 2 times, 10 times, 100 times, depending on the product that you're doing. 7-Up, they are producing trillions of these products.
This makes sense.
If they're doing 1 failure on their product line of trillions of this kind of graphic, it costs a hell of a lot of money. We were simply going out in the shops, making a little booth, asking them about our graphic design here. How does it feel? How does it work when you are looking at this? These kind of reactions we are writing down, and then we will present it for our client. So the combination of the users in the shops, in a combination with the marketing people, that is what bringing the new stuff.
But I mean, my question is, if you listen to the users, the consumers, sometimes they don't know what they want.
Exactly.
So I mean, by just listening to the consumers, you might not create something good for them.
No.
So what is the downside of this method?
You can say you can't test everything, but you can have a good picture of the average user in the end. And I think that is up to the client and up to the marketing division. How many tests do you want to do? I mean, in Vietnam, it's a huge country with more than 90 million people with different tastes on everything.
Yeah, how can you listen to them all?
You can't listen to them all, but you can have some guidance in the questionnaires, and if you can look at the pattern of the response on the questions that you're giving, then you are able to listen, to tweak and to adjust in the right way. I mean, you are able to lower the risk in testing. But of course, as a CEO, as marketing director, and designer, you need to listen to your stomach in the end, whether you feel secure in this decision or not. Listen to that gut feeling. Yeah. If you don't feel happy about your decision, you really have to take it over again, adjust it, test it again, and then do you feel better?
That gut feeling you have after you do all of this listening and observation is better than the gut feeling without doing anything.
Absolutely, that's my whole point.
Okay, that's true.
That is how to secure your own decision making.
So after 30 years practicing this, industry, being a designer, how do you see the industry is changing right now, especially in the digital area with, internet and social media, and how people react to a graphic design, how people react to branding? It's so fast right now. How does it affect designer?
I think that now we are facing a period where we will combine the physical product with the digital solution in a much more intelligent way. But it will take time, because we still have to focus on what do we want to wear, what do we want to buy, and in the end, how do we want to get rid of all these products that we are consuming? Our responsibility to our society and in our world is something that is extremely important these days. And together with technology, together with the new manufacturing processes, we can pollute less and less to create more and better quality. We don't have to throw things away because they can last for a longer period. But how can we adapt that to our society when we're using all our materials, creating a lot of waste? How can we reuse waste? Is a huge design job to reinvent new products, I think.
So what are your advices for a young designer who coming to join this market right now?
Educate yourself. Understand technology, discovery, all kind of new technology. How to use technology in another way. Be open-minded. I need to understand young people, old people. We're getting more and more old people. We need to focus on how to carry out all these old generation in a way so that they feel happy.
Wow, that's a lot of work for a designer.
That's a lot of work for everybody.
It's a big task right there.
It's a huge task.
And if a designer can speak business language, then he become a strong access for the companies, right? For the organization.
I think it can be a very strong enabler towards manufacturing, the CEOs, and technology. And I think that is what I would love to focusing on. And that is also what I think that young designers, they should focusing on. What is the next level of our life?
Not just sitting there and drawing something. That's not enough.
It's not enough. It has never been enough. And the faster, younger, but also older designers, they are understanding these kind of design philosophy by design thinking, the better for everybody. And it's all, in the end, it's all respect for each other and the way that we're working.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Let's do more design job.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.